Das ist die Lifehacks Show.
Welcome zur Lifehacks Show. Lifehacks gibt dir selbst erprobte Hacks und Tipps für dein bestes Ich. Und hier ist ein Crash-Test-Dummy für ein besseres Leben. Marcus Meurer.
Gehe jetzt auf www.podcastingkurs.de und starte an nur einem Wochenende deinen eigenen Podcast.
Alright guys, welcome to a new episode of the DNX Lifehacks podcast show live from the DNX camp in Brazil. And I'm here with one of the participants who's a really nice guy. I'm happy that you're joining. Welcome to the show, Dejan.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Yeah, what are your impressions from the camp, being for the first time on a camp? And did you have any idea? Or did you have any expectations? Or you just, because you also stepped in very short note? And what's your opinion so far?
Yeah, actually, I didn't have any expectations. It was just I wanted to join to see how it is.
Yes.
Mostly because there's so many things like this happening all over the world, and usually you need to pay to go there. You need to pay the full price for the accommodation. All this, so I had this chance to join quickly because I already live here, and I wanted to use it to see how it is. And now I'm really satisfied. Basically, it's really nice atmosphere all the time. It's just a lot of people you can talk to. You can work when you want to work. You can stop working and have some fun as well. It's really good feeling.
Cool. You just mentioned that you're living more or less here in Jeri, which is one of the most beautiful places in the world, and I've seen many places.
Yeah.
How did you manage this?
Well, I work online, obviously, like many digital nomads, and this is my 7th year here now. Yeah, I keep coming to Jeri. Definitely, this is one of the best places I've seen also. I've traveled to many places, but this is one of the best ones. Yeah. And if you're into this water sports, then this is the best place in this time of the year. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I would definitely sign it. And so, when did you come to Jeri for the first time?
In 2010. Yeah, in October 2010. I just came. I didn't know what it was. I just wanted to check it out, do some windsurfing, and it turned out to be so great that I kept coming every year now. Since 2010 until now, I don't want to miss a single year.
Yeah. And so next year is already safe. You will come again and again.
Yeah,
so there are no.
I didn't buy the tickets yet, but yeah, definitely I'm coming.
Do you see any change in this place, especially if a place is hyped or gets more famous?
Yeah, definitely a lot of change has happened since 2012, I would say. When I came first in 2010, there were just a couple of windsurfers and a few locals. And some tourists were coming, but not so much. And in 2012, somehow became a big boom. A lot of Brazilians started coming during just weekends or any holiday they had. They just kept coming in big masses, and then all these pousadas started popping out.
Pousadas is small, something like a hostel, right?
Yeah. Pousadas is known as a local hotel.
Small hotel
in Brazil, in South America, actually. Yeah. So they started popping out, and now you have like 400 pousadas in this small place, which originally had less than 1,000 inhabitants. So it's really amazing how...
4,000, you say?
400.
400.
Yeah.
Wow.
And all this is actually not so nice for me. It's just too much hassle, too much people, actually. But on the other hand, now we have this digital nomad groups coming, which I now and I participate in, which is kind of nice because you also want, besides windsurfing and kiting, you want to socialize a bit with people on your level, in your niche, let's say, so you can exchange some ideas or just talk about some different stuff than just windsurfing and partying, because most of the other people that are coming are just here for the party all night, to drink and eat and nothing else. So it's changed a lot since last 4 years, I would say.
Okay, this is also the biggest benefit for me when I go to Nomad hotspots or we organize camps or do some events, that it's so important to have people around you who understand you and are more or less on the same level, in the same topics, than just hanging out with backpackers, what we had to do in the beginning, maybe you too, when the lifestyle was not so popular. It's just a different mindset. It's okay once in a while.
Yeah.
And it's totally okay for these people, but it's a totally different lifestyle and approach of how to spend money and how to live.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. I really feel the change when I'm now in Jeri or in some other place where I can actually meet people that are doing similar stuff to me, you know. And before, like a couple of years ago, it was just either locals who just live here and they do some things to attract tourists, or those tourists that come for a week or for a few weeks and then just try to get as much as possible out of it in that short time span. You know, just spend all the money that they plan to spend, get wasted every night, or nothing special that they don't live here, basically.
Yeah.
And now with this digital nomad community, I think it's getting more interesting. And it's hitting Jeri recently since last 2 years. I think it's making Jeri more and more popular for digital nomads.
Yeah, especially Tiana was also coming for a long time already to Jeri. She started this digital nomad community and her project Follow the Element, and I think she did a great job to put also Jeri on the map. This is how things came together. I remember that I met Tijana, I think 3 years ago, when I was the first time in Jeri at a party, just a watersports party afterwards. And I didn't know that she was also working location independent, and same for me. And then things came together half a year later when I think she was thinking about starting something like a retreat here or so. So we partnered up last year and she was helping on the camp.
Yeah.
And it's funny how connected the whole world is meanwhile.
Yeah, it's still quite a small world for digital nomads, I would say. There's not so many people that are doing this.
No.
So you actually, if you meet somebody, it's very likely that you will meet the same person in a few months in some other place that is so popular. Because there are also not so many popular places all over the world.
No.
Yeah.
Not too much.
So people are going, to the same places, and it's mostly the same people.
And that being said, that you live here long term, that means you live like a local, you cook on your own?
Yeah, I try to kind of live my life here as if I was living in a big city and, had a proper job and everything. So I go to a restaurant a couple of times per month. I don't avoid it, but I have my own kitchen, I cook, I stay at home, I go out at night, once a week or twice a week. I sometimes have a girlfriend for a couple of weeks. It's not. It's different than party tourists that come for 1 week or 10 days and they just want to do everything at once.
Yeah.
So I have days when I just stay at home the whole day, or I miss a vacation day. I would say it's just a normal life.
Yeah. Perfect. And what was your life before you was just saying you're not having a proper job? Did you ever have a proper job?
Yeah, actually, I had a proper job in the office. I'm a software developer, so I was working in big companies as a part of a team, and I had to go to the office every day. It was a standard job. You go there, you get your tasks, you do them as slowly as possible, because if you finish them, then you get new tasks. There's no reason to hurry up.
It's crazy, huh?
Yeah, you get the money every month. You don't know what to spend it on. And
you have less time to spend it, really.
You have so little time to spend it. I had 1 month of vacation, which was definitely not enough.
But talking to Americans, I think it's still much. But
If you talk to somebody, it's
But still, I totally agree. I think we have 25 days in Germany, or 26 or something.
Yeah, that's still way less than what I wanted. I wanted 6 months. And then when I suggested this to my boss, or I don't remember, something like this I suggested, that was definitely not acceptable, and then I just quit. And without becoming actually digital nomad at first, I just quit and started traveling. And somehow it came together that I want to continue this lifestyle, and I have this knowledge that I can do this online. And I wanted to try it, and it turned out to be great. Yeah.
Cool. And these times there were rarely any resources about how to start a remote life, or was the concept very clear for you? Very easy.
It was just a
no-brainer.
Natural. I didn't actually know that it should be something that you need to learn how to live this lifestyle. You just travel, and then you try to find money somehow. And online was the easiest way for me, because I'm a software developer, so it was pretty natural. If I had some other business, then maybe it would have been different. But as a software developer, it's just you go online, find your clients, and you just do it the same as in the office. Just you're much more motivated, I think.
Mm-hmm. Do you work on Upwork?
Yeah. I currently work for Upwork itself. Yeah. I used to work through Upwork for other clients, and now in the last couple of months, I work for them directly.
How did this come? So for everybody listening who doesn't know what Upwork is, maybe you can
Upwork is the biggest online marketplace at the moment. There used to be like two websites, Odesk and Elance, and they joined like 2 years ago or something into one, and they changed the branding to become Upwork. So now they're literally the only place to go if you want to find online freelancing jobs. And I use them since 2010.
And vice versa, also for companies if they want to find contractors and freelancers, right?
Yeah, that's also if you want to find good developers. Or I think software developers are the biggest. The biggest amount of people is software developers. But you can also find translators. You can find copywriters or some other virtual assistants as well.
Yeah.
Anything
post-production.
Yeah, anything that can be done online, basically remotely, that you can find on Upwork for sure. So I was just working for them through them for other clients, and then eventually they posted the job themselves. They needed something done as well, so I applied. I got the job, and now I work for Upwork itself.
Fully remote.
Yeah, definitely fully remote. I wouldn't accept going back to the office, I think. Cool. Just there's not enough money for me to do that.
Is the company fully distributed?
No, Upwork is maybe 50% distributed and 50% is located in the States, like in San Francisco area somewhere, Mountain View or something. They do have office space for some personnel. I don't know how they split this, how they decide who is remote, who is not, but definitely for me, remote option is the only option.
Cool. Yeah. Did they ever want to see you in live, or was it all via Skype and chat and all the application interview process?
Everything was just online, Skype. Okay, we had video calls so they could see me.
Yeah.
But I think even that was not necessary. It was just like a bonus. But everything online. You don't need to be anything even close to them physically.
Right.
Yeah.
What tools are you using for time tracking if they want you to track the time?
Upwork itself has, even if you're just a client and a freelancer, you have this tool from Upwork that provides time tracking for developers, and also this integrates with the payments from the client. Developer, the freelancer, in my case, developer tracks the time that he spends on the project with this special tool that is a desktop application in Windows or Mac or whatever. And then
does it also make screenshots?
Yeah, it makes screenshots, and it monitors also the number of clicks on the keyboard and mouse or something like that. So you cannot easily trick it. I mean, you could, but if you had the knowledge to trick that, then obviously you can make much more money using that knowledge in some good way. So nobody is actually trying to do that. So freelancers, they track their time, and based on that, they get paid from the clients. And
if you hit certain milestones, or like, do you have to confirm on a?
That really depends on the client. Client decides on that, so it's not really anything specific to Upwork. For me now, for my current client, which is Upwork, I still do this time tracking, and they keep paying me based on what I track. But there are no milestones. There's nothing specific about that. Just as many hours I get paid per hour. Yeah. As many hours I do, that much multiplied by my hourly rate, I get paid, and that's it. Simple.
Yeah, it sounds really straightforward and simple.
Yeah, it's really simple. There's not much to it. Yeah.
And it really seems that you are totally in balance with yourself, with your work, with your setup of life.
At the moment, yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. I'm into water sports, and actually I started this traveling and all this remote working only because of my addiction to water sports. And obviously, when you live in a big city, it's not so easy to do windsurfing or kite surfing. But here, like in Jeri, you just walk 50 meters on the beach, you pick up your stuff, you go in the water. I mean, you close your computer, and then next 15 minutes, in 15 minutes, you can be on the water. That's really amazing. And being remote, I also have this option to schedule my work during the day as much as I want. Like I work in the morning or in the afternoon, or
You're free to work
free.
whenever
Okay,
you want.
this depends on the client as well. You don't have this freedom with every client, but with most of them you do. It's somehow normal or expected that if client accepts the remote work, then he will accept as well this flexible schedule, which is really important for me as well. If I had to work remotely but with fixed 8 hours per day, that wouldn't be as nice as this. Yeah. Sometimes the wind is really good, or we have this Tajuba trip on Monday the whole day, and I'm just gonna skip the whole day of work. I'm gonna make it up for next day, maybe Saturday. It doesn't matter. But as long as I finish what I need to do during the week, or let's say 2 weeks or something like that, then it's okay.
Cool. And you're originally from Serbia, right?
Yeah, from Serbia, but I lived in Greece for 3 years in Athens, and that's where I started this water sports, and that's where I had this office job for 3 years, and I just couldn't take it anymore. That's when, even though Greece is a really beautiful country and Athens is an amazing city, I had really great time there, but the office lifestyle, it just made me go crazy, and eventually I had to quit without even knowing that this was going to happen. I was just quitting, going for the wind, nothing else.
So it was like really you couldn't stand it anymore. Any day, any minute.
I knew that I could come back to it, so I kind of had this safety net because my profession was still quite good, and I got a lot of offers. Even when I was quitting, they didn't want to let me go so easily. But even without that security, I think I would have done the same. Yeah, I just couldn't stand it anymore. It was just getting too much, and the hours were like until 7 p.m., something like this. Even though this profession is quite popular, there is so much demand that you cannot really work 9 to 5 anymore. In Europe, it's like 9 to 7, usually 8 p.m. So you lose the whole day, basically. And if you're not into, just sitting at home and watching TV, if you want to go outside and do something during the day, which I really love, then basically your whole day gets wasted if you just stay in the office. And that's what made me quit.
This is what also happened to me, like working more hours, more days. And on the other hand, also more responsibility, good salary, and all these perks and more headcounts. But at the end, you were just earning more money, which is nice, but also working more and have less time for things you are really passionate about. Like, I love to go in the gym and work out, and on the weekend to meet with my friends, but the time was getting less and less where I could make it.
Yeah, I understand that some people are really happy with that lifestyle if they have hobbies that they can do, I don't know, in the evening, or they don't depend on the weather or the daylight or something like that. If they spend money in the malls or watching TV or buying better car, better apartment, whatever that really requires a lot of money. For me, that was really not interesting at all. So I just wanted to spend my money on the beach, on travels, on windsurfing, on kiting, and I just had so much money that I could not spend it on those trips. It was just much more money than time available to spend it.
Yeah.
I didn't want to buy a car. I didn't want to buy an apartment. I didn't want to buy all those things which would have taken all my money, okay? But if I didn't want that, I had extra money. So I just thought, okay, maybe I can make a bit less money and have more time to spend it. It's much more valuable. Because time is money as well,
Totally. And time is one of the resources you can't recreate. Money, you can always get more money.
Yeah. And now, actually, I'm getting more money than I used to get in the office. So I'm kind of, I got it both ways,
Yeah, this is also very interesting for many people. Once you let go from, I don't need that much money, it will it will come more that you really need, especially for many nomads who live like you, a very simple lifestyle. Or for me, I'm spending €1,000 or 1,500 per month.
Yeah, the same for me, including all the travels like plane tickets, including accommodation, food, and including the equipment for windsurfing and kiting, which is quite expensive, I have to say. So I spend like 10 to 15,000 euros per year.
Yeah,
which is quite okay, I think.
it is totally. And cool. How were your family and friends reacting after you said you will quit an office job and go somewhere? Was it a discussion in any way, or did they already know you were like free with the wind?
Yeah, they definitely didn't like it, especially my family, but they knew that there is not much discussion about it. They knew that I was going to do it no matter what.
Where did your self-esteem come from? Especially when, it depends on how hard you're educated by your family or friends, but many people, they really struggle with breaking free.
I don't know. First of all, I somehow, when I went to live in Greece, I also separated from my family and friends a bit. So that was maybe the first step. And then when you're separated like this by distance, then maybe it's easier a bit. But I think even if my family was in the same city and everything, I would have done the same. But somehow it's what I wanted, and I didn't want to live the life they wanted for me. And I know it's just a standard line, but I wanted to live the life for myself. I don't owe this life to anybody, so I don't need to waste it to make somebody else happy, my parents or my friends or whoever. So I just said, okay, I'm doing that and that, and if you like it, okay. If you don't like it, there's nothing you can do about it, And eventually, in the beginning, okay, of course, I didn't have enough income. I didn't have so many clients. I didn't know what was going to happen, and obviously they had doubts that I'm gonna like fail or maybe go back and then had to get a much worse job or be in much worse situation than before. But now that I'm like making really good money last couple of years and really being still independent and traveling and making this lifestyle like sustainable in the long run, I think they accepted it, and now they're maybe too proud to say, but they think I did well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel the same more or less. Like my mother was always really afraid that I couldn't fund my own life, fund my own lifestyle, and this was, I don't know why. It's another generation, but the biggest fear or concern was always, do you make enough money and can you live?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for me, I was not sure that I could do it. I just I quit my job and I went out and I said, okay, I want to spend my savings just enjoying, and if something comes along the way, I'll just take it. And I was not afraid of that. If nothing happens, I'll go back to that office lifestyle, whatever. But my family and friends, they didn't think it that way. They just thought, okay, if you leave now, you're like, God, you're going to lose so much.
You will never get a job again.
You'll never get it back. It's like, obviously, it's not like that. If you quit something and you realize you made a mistake, it's not so easy. It's not so difficult to come back if you really realize it was a mistake. But obviously, I didn't realize it was a mistake. I realized it was a really good decision, and I kept going on. And it just became better and better over time. And now it's so good that nobody's actually giving me any problems or telling me stop doing that. It's not really.
Yeah. I think now that it went also more public and people get the concept and see it's sustainable and it's.
Yeah, now if you just say you're a digital nomad, people kind of know what you're doing. It's much more popular. Back then, you could not explain this in 2 words. You could not explain it in one podcast. Would be needed to explain what you're doing and how you're doing that. But now it's so mainstream almost that you just say, oh, I'm a digital nomad. I'm just traveling and working. I'm living this lifestyle, and it's okay.
Yeah, I also see when I talk to people now, and in comparison 4 or 5 years ago when we started out, it was like nobody got the concept, and I was very passionate about it, explaining them for hours, and then at the end, you see they didn't get it. And now you just mentioned I can work from everywhere. I work online. I've heard about this. I've read an interview. I know this concept.
Yeah, it's much more common these days. So it needs less explaining, and with that, also family and friends they tend to accept it better.
Mm-hmm. And how did you create your skills in being a developer? And are you still improving, or do you now have a level of a certain?
Yeah, well, I started in 2004, my first job in the office during my studies. So since then, I was constantly improving. Every new project, I had to learn new technologies and keep up with the changes. And obviously, when I started freelancing, nothing changed. I had to improve all the time. Not only because I wanted to get new clients, but even with one client, if you have a long-term client, you need to go through some new stuff all the time. And it's necessary just to do one project, you need to keep improving. So it kind of comes naturally that you cannot stop improving in this job, at least in my profession.
Yeah.
So being freelancer or being in the office makes a little difference. It's more about who is your client and what is your project. And I have to say actually that projects that are now being offered to freelancers are more likely to be using new technologies and new stuff that you want to learn than those that you would get in the office. It's not a rule, but I would say like slightly more in people who are having new stuff are more inclined to also accept remote work.
Yeah, I would think the same.
It's kind of correlated.
Yeah, I think so. Especially from the companies when they say, okay, let's try something fancy, or we have some extra budget for someone outside of this company, because they see, okay, we are doing this since 10 years, 20 years, we need some change.
Yeah.
They will more likely look for maybe a freelancer, and these freelancers are more likely state of the art because they are not stuck in the office every day and working for the same company.
Yeah, it's kind of like if you think that being a freelancer will ruin your career or at least slow it down professionally, then this is not the way to think, because it's actually helping your career. If you're a software developer, I cannot say about other professions, but for mine, it's definitely the freelancers are top level of developers.
Totally. Totally. And they are really taking over. I think there are some studies that more and more people get now, like starting as a freelancer, because it's really changed, especially I think in the last 10 years, that you're more secure being self-employed and care about yourself than being employed by a company, which can go down.
Yeah. Okay. I think it depends on which country you have this company in. But basically, if you know what you're doing, if you know how to manage your savings and invest it, you can be much safer as a freelancer.
Cool. Would you say Upwork is a good start for freelancers if they want to get the first clients? And maybe do you have some takeaways or something people should be aware when they start on Upwork from the very first minute that
I can talk about my experience, which is tightly connected to software development. I don't know about other professions so much, but for software developers, definitely Upwork is the place to go. You just make your profile, set your rate, which should not be way too low. It should be something that you are satisfied with, but also even if you don't get the jobs immediately with that rate, you cannot go lower than some, like say $15 or $20 per hour. That's the minimum you should go. Even that is for the skills that are really, really low. So if you start with something like 20 or 25, that would be like a normal starting price. You will wait initially for a few weeks, maybe, or even months to get the first job. But then your profile will be built. So you will build up your profile by doing that with some clients.
Which means you get reviews?
Yeah, you get reviews from every client. You get reviews. And then based on that, you will get new clients. And then you can start increasing your rate. And
can you also do some tests or something like batches that people see you're fluent in English? You
have plenty of tests. And some clients have dedicated tests for themselves. Like there's also some online tests like Codility or something like that, which many clients require for the like part of the interview process.
Interesting.
And what I wanted to say about the rate, maybe you can start with $3 per hour and get a job immediately, but that will not help your finances for sure, and that will not help your profile at all. It will actually make it worse, because later on, if you want to go for 20 or 30, if a new client comes and sees that you work for $3, he will not be convinced that you can actually do something useful, you know.
So the clients see.
Yeah, the clients will see your history, your previous clients and your previous engagements, and if it's really something totally off, like $3 or $5 per hour, then it really makes no sense for anybody to pay you more than that, or maybe 7 or 8. But if you want to go like normal price, like which is around 30 or 40, then you need to start close to that, 20, 25, whatever.
Especially, I think, also if you want to differentiate from lower income countries where they offer their jobs for really small fees, and we also tried to work with developers from India or Philippines, for instance. But the experience at the end was always bad, and so I think it's important to shape a good.
Okay,
good
that's
profile.
one point, but also you don't want to differentiate only from the countries. You want to differentiate from those people who don't know anything. They're lacking skills, and they just want to get whatever money they can with the skills they have, so they put $5 per hour. And if you get into that group, it's difficult to get out of it without making a new profile, let's say. So if you have one profile and you want to build it up, and you want to do it because you want to kind of monetize on it later on, and the way you start will be kind of the way you continue in the next few months or years. So you need to be careful about that.
Yeah,
and don't pay attention if you don't get a job immediately. I mean, it can be a bit disappointing and frustrating, but think of it like, it's a part of the job. This applying and going to the interviews is part of your daily routine that you have to do. You don't get paid for it, but eventually when you get the money, you can kind of calculate that time that you spent on interviews as time spent to get that money that you later on will be getting.
Do you think there's a general ratio of how many interviews you have to go until you get a job? Or does it depend on many other factors?
Yeah, it depends on a lot of factors, like which is your language that you're doing, which technologies you're using, and some are more popular, some are less popular, so I cannot really say. Depends also on your skills. If you're really good in not only the technical stuff that you do, but also in interviewing. Maybe you're really bad at interviewing. Maybe you need to improve on that.
Yeah. So it also helps you to get into this process of interviewing.
Yeah. So if you have a basically empty profile and you have no interviewing skills, it will be much more difficult than somebody who has the same profile, but he knows how to present himself with the same skills. So,
what do you think about platforms like TopTal?
I'm also on TopTal actually, and it's funny. I got on TopTal last year, but I didn't get a job there because Upwork came first with the offer. So I took this. It's really like I would compare TopTal, like getting into TopTal, as having a really good profile on Upwork.
Okay.
And now that I have a really good profile on Upwork, I'm kind of equal on both TopTal and Upwork. Because TopTal, in order to get in, you have this rigorous process of interviewing. Like I took, I think, 1 month to get in.
Wow. So they really care about the quality of the people.
Yeah.
On the platform.
But this kind of makes you get clients with basically zero profile with good rate. And okay, it didn't happen to me because I was looking on both places, and it happened to be Upwork rather than TopTal. But it could have been the other way around. No problem. I think it's also a great place, but only if you're a really good developer and if you know how to deal with interviews. This is something that will happen at the very beginning when you apply for TopTal itself to make your profile, to open an account. You cannot open an account unless you're really passing all those tests. On Upwork, you can just make your profile and that's it. You're online and everybody can see you. On TopTal, it's different. But on the other hand, if you pass those tedious interview processes, then you will get already to a bigger level, let's say, where you can get better clients immediately.
Would you say a good strategy could be to start to get some experience on Upwork and sharpen your profile there and make it like really good quality, and then maybe go for TopTal or the other platforms?
I would say it doesn't hurt to go to TopTal immediately as well. If you're really skilled as a developer. At the moment, they are accepting only developers and designers. While on Upwork, you have so many other professions. And if you're a developer or a designer, you can go on TopTal as well. And there's no problem to have both profiles and do what I did, actually. Just try both at the same time. Which comes first with a better offer, you take that. Yeah. Nobody's going to get angry or anything, I hope. So...
Was it really tough, the interview process of TopTal?
Yeah, definitely. The toughest interview I had, I think, in my life. I passed it, and I kind of knew that I was going to pass that. I could not have failed it. But I've had like 10 years of experience in that exact thing that they asked. So if you are maybe experienced a lot, but in something else that they are not asking, then it might be, even though maybe you are really good, it might be not so easy for you. Yeah.
And this application process and interview process, there were also video calls involved?
Yeah, definitely, everything. They test your English skills, your personality, and then after all that, you go to these technical tasks. And you have
before that, the soft skills and your background.
Yeah, definitely, that is included as well. Yeah. So obviously, you need to have much better level of English to even create a profile on TopTal than on Upwork. On Upwork, English is not even required if you can find clients that are not speaking English. On TopTal, English is mandatory.
Nice, good times for remote developers, I would say.
Yeah.
But anyway, like when I was working in the startup scene in Berlin, like 6 years ago, I also remember that, as you said, everybody was desperate for developers, every startup, and literally they could really fill in their own salary. It was crazy. They just got the contracts, and as soon as one developer said, "Oh, okay, I will try a little bit with you," they could ask for any money they want. They got lots of perks, an own room. They got Club Mate. They could drink the whole day.
Yeah, I think the maximum perk nowadays is this being remote. I think that's the only perk that I'm asking for, and some companies are still not giving it. I actually had an interview for one company last year, and they're really big, and I really liked the product that they are offering, and I applied, and I said that I wanted to remote, and they were so reluctant to do this. We kind of made an agreement that I'm going to do it for 3 months in the office and then start remote, and in the end they kind of gave up on that as well, because they said office or nothing, and I just didn't want to accept it. Even though it was really good company, I liked the project, I liked the salary was good as well, but just my freedom was more important.
It's not negotiable anymore for you.
Yeah, definitely no. After you feel this lifestyle, you just don't want to go back.
Yeah, I can fully understand. Thanks for your time, Dejan.
Yeah, thank you.
It's really cool.
Nice to be here.
Yeah, nice to have you on the group. And thanks for listening, guys. And hear you next time. Peace and out.
Yo, 1000 Dank für deinen Support, und wenn dir die Show was bringt, dann abonniere sie bitte bei iTunes und hinterlass mir eine Bewertung. Unter allen neuen iTunes-Bewertungen verlose ich regelmäßig DNX-Tickets für die kommenden Events in Buenos Aires, Lissabon und auch Berlin. Komm auch in die kostenlose DNX-Community unter dnxcommunity.de und connecte dich mit Tausenden von Lifehackern, Freigeistern und richtig coolen Leuten. Ich bin auch regelmäßig in der Community am Start und helfe, wo ich kann. Folge mir 24/7 an die geilsten Orte der Welt als digitaler Nomade. Abonniere dafür meinen Newsletter unter dnx-berlin.de/news und folge mir auf Snapchat, Instagram und Facebook unter Marcus Meurer. Erzähl deinen 3 besten Freunden oder Freundinnen von der Show, so können wir gemeinsam noch mehr Leute erreichen und motivieren. Vielen Dank nochmal für deinen Support und bis zum nächsten Mal. Peace and out.